guys, welcome back to my channel At Home with Beth, where I will be posting video tutorials each week on anything from cooking and baking with food allergies to woodworking and crafts. So make sure that you like and subscribe so that you don't miss anything. So today we're going to be making king cake. It's that time of year, Mardi Gras is coming up, and this Tuesday is Fat Tuesday, so I'm so excited to be sharing this one with you. It's egg-free, dairy-free, as well as can be substituted for gluten-free, and there are no nuts in this as well, so peanut-free, tree nut-free. So to do this king cake recipe today, we are going to be using our basic bread recipe that we have, and if you're not familiar with that, it's actually in the comments below. So go ahead and pause this video and make that bread recipe, and then meet me back here after your bread has risen in a bowl, and we're gonna go ahead and get started on the next step. So with this recipe, the bread recipe that we're going to make previously is going to actually make 2 king cakes. So we're gonna divide our dough in half, and we're gonna roll out 1 cake, and then we're gonna have enough to make another cake as well. Okay, so I've got half of our dough all rolled out, and I made it into a nice large rectangle. So I made it pretty big, and you're gonna wanna do that as well, because whenever we are done, we're going to actually connect the pieces to make a large circle. So we have our vegan butter here, our Earth Balance, and it's melted down. And we're just going to pour half of that mixture onto our dough, and then leave the other half for the other side of our cake. So I'm going to pour it out like that, and then I'm just going to use one of these gloved hands here. I like to use these gloves whenever I'm working with dough or anything where I would have to typically wash my hands a million times in between each step, because in the winter my hands just don't take well to being washed in between each step of the baking process. So instead of getting covered in butter, I'll just do this. And then just lay that there for the next cake. And then in here I have a half a cup of white sugar, half a cup of brown sugar, and a 1/4 cup of cinnamon. And I'm just mixed that up before we got started, and so it's ready to go. And I'm going to use half of that mixture to just put all over this as well. So we want to leave half of it for the next cake, so just use half of your mixture here. I'm just going to get that all spread around. So I'm just going to dump it, and then I can work it with my hands here. And we're going to spread it. And this is up to you. If it looks like you want more sugar than what's on there, just mix up a little bit extra sugar. You can do a full cup of each if you like it really, really sugary. I tend to not, just because after we're done, we're gonna be putting icing all over this, so it's already a pretty sugary dessert. So the inside I want to be good, but I don't really want to overpower the kids with a bunch of sugar. So our icing at the end is going to be a powdered sugar-based icing, and we're going to color it the purple, green, and yellow for Mardi Gras, and then we actually sprinkle some more colored sugar on top of that. So it's a pretty sugary dessert here. So that looks about good. And I'm just going to take my gloves again, and we're going to roll it up. So we're going to start on the ends and bring them in. And then we are going to roll this way, and you want to roll it pretty tight. You don't want to get any air pockets in there or anything like that. So whenever you're rolling it, just make sure that you're rolling it pretty snug the whole way through, and try to get it to look as uniform as possible, because you do want it to look pretty when you're done. Now this is a egg and dairy free recipe, as well as a nut free recipe, but a lot of people do like walnuts or pecans chopped up in here, and you can absolutely do that. I just like to leave them out because it does cover a bigger demographic of people who can relate to not having nuts. And my kids aren't big fans of nuts anyway, but if you like walnuts or pecans, you can absolutely add those in there. And they taste good too. So whenever we're done, we've got this nice long piece here. And we're gonna just try to seal the edges as best we can. It's a little hard because of all the butter that's in there, but if you can just seal them as best you can. It's really okay if it opens up a bit when it bakes. I'm not too picky on that myself. And then whenever we are done with that, we're just gonna kind of shake it to try to elongate it a little bit. And then we're gonna bring our ends together, push them together to create a ring. And then we're going to move that ring onto our bake pans, our silicone bake mats, so that it doesn't stick. And then whenever we are done, we are going to roll out our other side of dough here. And then both of these are going to go into the oven at 175 for about 20 to 30 minutes so that they can rise again. And once they double in size, then we kick up our oven to 350 and we are going to bake it the rest of the way in there. So let's get going. Okay, so while that bread is in the oven at 175 and we're waiting on it to double in size before we bake it the rest of the way at 350, I'm gonna go ahead and get our 3 icings ready. So we're going to have a purple, a yellow, and a green. So all I have here is a cup of powdered sugar in each bowl. And then we've got our vanilla almond breeze milk. You can use any milk substitute. You can use soy, you can use cashew, you can use almond, you can use rice, oat, or if you are not vegan or dairy free, you can use regular milk. You can also use water, so that works too. We're gonna start off by doing 1 tablespoon into each bowl. And sometimes you'll need more and sometimes you won't. It's kind of like it never really works out the same way each time for whatever reason. I typically end up doing 2 tablespoons in each bowl. But it also depends on the thickness and the consistency that you're looking for. I like mine to be pretty runny just because I like to just kind of drizzle it on top. Other people like theirs to be a little thicker, so just kind of make it and just do a little bit at a time. It's a lot easier to add more liquid than it is to take away liquid, so oops. So just make sure that you add a little bit of the liquid at each time. And usually I like to sift the powdered sugar before while it goes into the bowl, I sift it through just so I don't get lumps. But I actually forgot to do that today. So it's actually looking pretty good though. I don't see too many lumps in here. So that looks good. So 2 tablespoons is really what I used for that one. And that was a good consistency. And we're gonna go ahead and do that with all the rest of these bowls. So we'll go ahead and do 2 tablespoons in each. And then this one, we'll go ahead and make the green. And I usually just start off with about 2 drops and then see what I need from there. And that looks about perfect. So we've got a nice green icing there. And as you can see, it's kind of a thicker consistency, but it's still gonna run pretty easy if I just run that right over top of our cake whenever it's warm, and it'll just melt right in. So we'll make this one here yellow. And we'll do 2 drops in that. Oop, I think I did 3, that's all right. And if you want a lot of icing, then you might want to make up some more. Like I said, this is a pretty sugary dessert, so I just tend to skimp a little bit on the icing. But if it were up to my kids, we'd have like 3 cups of sugar per color. So that's a pretty vibrant yellow right there, and I did 3 drops. drops in that, so 3 looks good. This one actually turned out rummier than the green. That's what I'm saying. They're just, even though they all had 3 or 1 cup measured out exactly, it just doesn't always end up the same. So you just want to kind of add as you go. So this one here, we're going to make purple. So we're going to get our blue and our red. We'll get 1 drop of each in there. And we're just going to get that mixed up. And then we are going to pull our cakes out and check those. And as long as they are doubled in size, we're going to go ahead and kick the oven up to 350, and we're going to bake it the rest of the way according to the bread recipe that I have. So just go ahead and follow those same directions as if you were baking this just as the regular bread recipe. I also forgot to mention the food coloring that I'm using is McCormick. It's hard to find dairy-free food coloring, and a lot of them have the may contain statements on there. So for egg and dairy allergies, McCormick has safe food coloring. So in case you didn't know that, that's what we're using here. That's what I use in almost all of my baking because it is kind of hard to find certain brands that don't have that statement on there. So in case you didn't know, McCormick is good for egg and dairy allergies. Okay, so our bread is baked up, and our cakes, after they went in the oven at 175 for 20 minutes and doubled in size, they went ahead in at 350 and they baked the rest of the way for 25 minutes. And I just took it out. Looks great. Once it's cooled off, you can choose if you want to get one of these little plastic babies that usually you find in a Mardi Gras cake, and you can just stick it up underneath the cake. You just lift it up and just shove it up underneath so that you can't tell where it is. And then whoever gets the baby has good luck the rest of the year. So once that cake cools off, I'll go ahead and do that. For right now, it's got taken out about 10 minutes ago, so it's slightly cool so that this shouldn't melt too terribly bad, but we do kind of want it to run into each other, so I still like it to be kind of warm whenever I do the icing. And I'm just going to rotate the different colors. So we're going to start with purple. We're just going to drizzle that on there. And then we'll do some green. Let's get that. And then we're going to add the yellow. And then just go back to the beginning color and then just keep going around the cake. Looks like our icing's going to run off our plate here. And like I said before, if you want more icing for the other cake, just go ahead and make up some more. It's up to you how much icing you want to put on. And we're just going to keep going around in the circle here. So be sure the baby, if you want to put the little plastic baby in there, you can usually find those around Mardi Gras time in your baking aisle at your grocery store. I think I just found mine actually at Walmart a couple years ago. They came in like a little bag of maybe 20 or so, so I still have some left over. But yeah, you can find them pretty much anywhere. I know Amazon has them if you can't find them at your local grocery store. And you just want to be careful because if you've got little kids and they're biting into this, you just want to let them know that it's in there. If you have really little kids, you should probably just skip the baby altogether. And I know a lot of people just go ahead and put like an almond in there or a nut of some sort so that they aren't breaking teeth on a baby, plastic baby. Also, like I was saying earlier, I do skip out on the nuts so that we know some people with nut allergies. So I skip the nuts just so that more people are able to use this recipe. But if you are not avoiding nuts, like I said, you could put I'm sorry, not cashews, pecans, you can do almonds, you can do walnuts. A lot of people put raisins in this as well, so raisins, anything really. We just like it to be plain. We're not too big on the stuff that you find in the middle, all the different textures. We just like all the sugar. So once you get all your colors on there, it's gonna look like this. And we got a lot of icing there in the center, which is my kid's favorite part. After that hardens up a little bit, it's like a giant dipping pool in the middle. And then I use Cakemate, which is safe for the egg and dairy allergies. Cakemate Shimmering Silver. And we're just gonna sprinkle some of that right over top, just to give it a little bit of that Mardi Gras look to it. And then you just do the same thing with your second cake, and then you're good to go. And now you've got your king cake ready for Fat Tuesday, and some happy kids after dinner, I'm guessing, just like mine would be. So thanks guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you check the comments below, and like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the future videos. And thanks again, I'll see you next time.